It is Wednesday, my dude.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Punch Up Pod with Lila and Pat. We are so excited to be back. Happy Wednesday. We missed everybody. I missed you, Pat. I missed all of our friends. Hello.
Hello. And the runs, I think, says it best for all of us. This is us included, of course.
Definitely.
This whole thing is it's therapy for me. It's therapy for Lila. Yeah. We need some catharsis. I can't even say the word. Just finish it for me.
Catharsis. Some catharsis.
Catharsis, some education, some laughs a little bit, some cries, tears,
sobbing, misery loves company, yes. All that good stuff. Yeah, it's good to be here. I have to just say, this is a little like self-pat. It's 8 o'clock here. I am in Cincinnati visiting my mother, and it's 8 o'clock. And you know I start drinking at 5 on the dot. And I did not. I waited till 7:30 when Pat and I started doing a pregame.
Thank you. It's going to keep the show so much more on track. We're going to be extra professional tonight. No, we're not doing any of that. Obviously not.
Yeah, and I do just want to give a quick yes. Caveat. If everything just kind of sparks out over here, the Wi-Fi is a little slower, and my lights keep popping out and in. There's just a lot of things that I'm not used to, so bear with us, please. Right.
And just to clarify, Lila's been on vacation for almost 10 days ish or something.
Yeah.
So she's in a whole different state. She's over. Do you want to even say?
Yeah. I mean, I was in Orlando for I think I had said before, my kids' spring break college tournament, which was really fun. They both did great. I think I have explained before how my older son, Asher, has injured himself out of 2 seasons, the past 2 seasons. So I was just like, please, it's his senior year, make it through. And the second to last game, he pulled a hamstring, stealing third, but I think he'll be okay for the rest of the season. He just had to sit out the rest of that game.
Oh, good.
That was the only, glitch at all in that realm. They both played great. Xander got to pitch. He had his brother behind him at second, calling all the, plays for those few innings, because he really wanted to make all the plays for his brother, which was really touching for the mommy in me. And so all of that was great. However, show up and there's 11 big baseball boys there are these townhomes in this compound in Orlando. And apparently a stomach bug or something was going around. Of course it was on the first night. And so they were telling me about it. I was like, well, did you plunge the 2 toilets in the pitcher's house that were clogged? No, there was only a thing with bristles I tried to use. So they closed the lid, closed the door, and decided they're just going to use the other toilets. But then they use another one. That one. So this was my first night in Orlando with my mask on.
Doing God's work here.
Plunging toilets. And embarrassing the hell out of those boys. But come on, you're not going to stay in a house that just has raw sewage emanating through it all. And people would still take showers in there and stuff. So anyway, that was.
Go figure. Why are they sick? Why are they sick? I have no idea.
Anyway, but other than that, it was really fun. And now I'm here with my mom, which is really fun. And thank you all for bearing with any technical problems that might happen. How are you? How was your week? We've really been out of touch.
My boss, who has had, COVID 74 times or something, he was sick all last week. So I barely worked. And now he's coughing and sick still, but he just left for vacation. So he's on vacation. He's flying. So he flew. And that's why you want a mask when you fly. But I'm in charge of the business for the next 2 weeks, so that's great. So,
oh my God,
I'll be sleeping in a lot, living the good life.
Yeah, and maybe not having to like imbibe his COVID fumes.
I'm safe from his COVID. Yes, absolutely.
But it is really good to know that, of course, people get on planes. I was the only person wearing a mask this whole trip. Nobody. It's like nobody.
Oh yeah,
anywhere.
And my boss will he'll wear a mask to our jobs because I think I've convinced him it's professional to wear a mask.
Right.
And
right.
But it's usually off in the car with me when we're driving around to work. But he's flying on the plane with a friend of his. So there's no way he's masking on the plane.
No.
Even he's clearly got something going on. I mean, he's got long COVID too. He keeps telling the same stories over and over again. Like, you told me that literally like 2 hours ago, and then you told me yesterday.
Yeah, it is doing so much damage to people's frontal lobes and every lobe. It's really crazy. Yeah, a constant coughing and sickness, and it's pretty amazing that that's our new normal, and everybody's okay with it. So
this is fine.
We're
good. It's good to be here. It's so good to see you.
It's okay. We want to thank, as always, our wonderful pup heroes and sheroes. You guys are awesome. Thank you. We love and adore you, and we couldn't do this without you. So thank you. We really are so super appreciative. As always, please remember to like and subscribe and smash that notification bell.
Howdy, y'all.
Hey,
I'm just hitting a few buttons.
I like it.
Randomly. Hello. What's up?
We're getting back in the swing of things, right?
I'm just looking for Pat's right. Did somebody say that yet?
Not yet.
Nobody?
I think it's going to be a while. I can't imagine.
There you go. Super Mom. We'll just give you that one and call it a day.
Is that it?
Pretty much.
I like the American number 1. That's hilarious. Number 1 at something for sure. Jen, hi. All right.
Points. Zena. Super fan.
Yeah, Pat's just pushing buttons. He's just excited to be back in the studio.
Just leaving that up there.
Okay. Let's spin the wheel and get to our cheers, and let's get it going on, right?
Sounds good.
All right. Oh, wheel. Dude, I made sure that it fit perfectly so you wouldn't be upset. Okay.
Yeah, you're killing it. Oh, and shout out to my beer of the day. I don't know if you can see this, but it is the Great Cone Holio, a Beavis and Butthead inspired IPA. It's delicious.
And it has a pretty high alcohol by volume for you.
Yeah, 8 point something%.
That's pretty good.
Which with my math, it's like 14. We'll just make it up.
Yeah, mine's 14.5%. My Pinot.
Excellent.
My screw top Pinot.
Yeah, baby.
Mike says hello, everybody. Okay, this one you guys have all probably seen the daily routine theme online where that one guy shows his dipping his head in ice water and stuff.
Yeah.
This is the best sort of parody of it I've seen yet. So here we go.
Oh my God. Okay. Woo!
It's a brand new car!
Good job, you loser! I got more bricks than Pablo Escobar!
I like the way she rolls. Those have been really fun. I love them.
There are some good ones. I like, definitely the liquor bottle one with that one, and the toilet one.
That brought it all back for me with the one little square of toilet paper. Was pretty gross. Okay, so
did we thank everybody yet? I don't think we thanked them.
Really?
Did we? Did we put this up?
Wow, Pat. No offense, but that.
Do I have long COVID?
We did that. Ooh, we're off to a good start. Just keep pushing buttons, my friend.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so a few weeks ago, the Palestinian team was chosen to play to qualify for the 2026 FIFA, but they have to do all these different
football, soccer. Yeah.
What did I say?
Oh no, we just didn't say it was football or soccer. You said FIFA. I just want people to know.
Do you guys not play PS4? No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. Right. Yeah, FIFA, soccer, football, football. And we'll get to the other part later, but to announce their team, they created a beautiful, really moving ad that we want to share, because the resolution to find some joy in the midst of this devastation is truly remarkable. Oh my God, I'm crying. I didn't know it was going to end so soon. I'm sitting here crying. I did not expect to see my face right away. Wow. So that's beautiful. And cheers to them. It is unbearable. It's unfathomable that this continues. And I guess that's a good lead in to the main thrust of our show, which is the SignalGate, Chatgate, because the only people who are doing anything truly to fight this genocide is Ansar Allah, Houthis from Yemen, and Biden bombed the shit out of them, knowing it wasn't going to do anything to help, because you're never going to kill people's desire for their own liberation. And now, Trump is doing the same thing, but that was the subject of, okay, I have a question for you.
For me?
Do you think, okay, first we should probably set it up, because I don't know that this was a mistake at all. When you have an ex-IDF soldier who's the, chief executive of The Atlantic, or editor of The Atlantic, getting invited into a Signal chat discussing the specific plans for more bombing of Yemen.
It's interesting you say that, because I did notice
the light keeps going out.
I would have expected the chat to be a little bit more ridiculous and unserious. So to me, it does make sense, a conspiracy theory that they sort of somebody wanted this out. It made the to me, the person who looks the best in this is JD Vance, even though it's all awful.
I agree. Yeah.
But he seemed more balanced and professional and than the rest of the crew. And like, is that an accident? I don't know. But
okay, so I know everybody probably knows what we're talking about, but let's just set it up. So as only the New York Post can do, right? Like, it's a hilarious Operation Overshare. Jeffrey Goldberg, who is the chief editor of The Atlantic, which, Goldberg is a disgusting, he helped lie us into the Iraq war. He's a huge Zionist. He left UPenn early to go be a prison guard at a torture camp in Israel, an IOF soldier. But so
where he pretty much admitted to covering up war crimes.
Oh, yeah. And actually doing like his own abuse of Palestinians. Somebody who threw a rock, or and so we'll get to that. So the setup of all of it is he is mistakenly invited into a chat, which doesn't make a ton of sense, because this is supposed to be like a high, it was like Tulsi Gabbard, it was Pete Hegseth, it was Mike Waltz, it was like the cabinet level officials of Trump's war machine, and they invite in Jeffrey Goldberg. And I know they're coming up with who the other JG would have been, but it's kind of hilarious. So this is in his article. He says, 4 a.m., the account labeled Pete Hegseth posted in Signal a team update. I will not quote from this update or from certain other subsequent texts. The information contained in them, if they had been read by an adversary of the U.S., could conceivably have been used to harm American military. Blah, blah, blah. What I will say, in order to illustrate the shocking recklessness of the Signal conversation, is that the Hegseth post contained operational details of forthcoming strikes on Yemen, including information about targets, weapons the U.S. would be deploying, and attack sequencing. This is the part that you were talking about, and I agree, although not for his reasons. They're just so transactional and gross. But anyway, this is Vance writing in the chat. I think we're making a mistake. The Vance account goes, because they're talking about responding to the Houthis blockading ships going in and out of Israel, cargo ships, and more than anything, the U.S. can't stand any capitalist endeavor being thwarted. Like, that's what really matters, not the genocide that we're doing, but that our ships, like, this is going to raise prices. Now they have to go around. China's making some money off of it because people would rather go through waters that they control. There's all this stuff, but it's all just money. Nothing about hundreds of thousands of civilians being slaughtered, of course. I think we're making a mistake, Vance says. The Vance account goes on to state 3% of U.S. trade runs through the Suez. 40% of European trade does. There's a real risk that the public doesn't understand this or why it's necessary. And he goes on to say, I'm not sure the president is aware how inconsistent this is with his message on Europe right now. there's a further risk that we see a moderate to severe spike in oil prices. I'm willing to support the consensus of the team and keep these concerns to myself. But there's a strong argument for delaying this a month, doing the messaging work on why this matters, seeing where the economy is, etc.
Yeah. So again, back to what you said, which I hadn't really considered. I mean, I had the idea that maybe somebody leaked it, but the fact that you're picking up on that, and we didn't even just talk about this, and Zaina's saying it too, and a couple, Kimmy said it too. Like,
yeah.
If there's one guy that's going to do the leak, it's probably going to be JD Vance, which is probably why he's making all these points, because he is sort of trying to separate himself out from Trump's stuff privately.
Right.
Like, because he wants to be the heir of the GOP,
right.
the party, you know, he wants to
Not
be
Don
the next phase of it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and maybe he has it, maybe, you know, because they're trying to throw this whole thing on whoever added the journalist. Was his name Marks or Mark?
Mike Waltz.
Waltz. So they're throwing him under the bus. So maybe there's a beef also with him, and they set him up to add this journalist, and that's kind of happened. But another layer of this is like, what happened to journalism in the country? That a journalist would just go, "Oh, I don't want to. You're showing me too much information, guys. Too much inside stuff on the administration."
I mean, oh, sorry, that's just a Michael Tracy thing on it. Yeah, he removed himself from the chat. Like, you're a journalist. Your whole job is to find out state secrets and reveal them. That's it. And yeah, no, of course, don't. I mean, you know, you can't put people in danger, but like, stay.
Yeah, who knows what you could have learned in the next month without revealing any CIA identity and war plans. You just don't report anything on it.
Right. So instead of staying and learning something, he reveals that, you know, oh, they're all boneheads. They added me. Isn't that crazy? And oh, but her emails. Remember when they were so mad at Hillary for putting, you know, an unsecure server? And oh, strike. Look at that. So Democrats are freaking out. How could this be happening? The hypocrisy and who's running this thing. And what's happening is, instead of talking about the fact that we are now bombing another country illegally. By the way, if you really wanted to impeach Trump, which you should, get him on that. Did he? I mean, sure, we can't because Biden did the same thing, but there's been no congressional approval to start war with another sovereign country. Like, if you really want to take care of this, right? But they don't. So instead of talking about what's happening, the only people who are fighting against what the whole world and every human rights organization is calling a genocide, these are the only people. Instead of talking about bombing them and not even really getting them, but of course, just like everything else, just getting civilians. And, you know, there's like, I mean, there was one part where it's like, I mean, this is so absurd. Michael Waltz says, so JD Vance doesn't understand something, and Mike Waltz says, typing too fast. Like, I'm sorry. I'd say that to you sometimes, but like, that should never happen with these high level people who are coordinating to bomb other countries. Like, oops, sorry, you didn't understand that. I'm just typing too fast. The first target, their top missile guy, we had positive ID of him walking into his girlfriend's building, and it's now collapsed. So a whole apartment building collapsed. Good job. Powerful start. Way to go.
And the other part of this, obviously, is that none of this belongs on Signal. Signal is an app that people use to hide their phone number in some cases, also just to have secure messages, but it's not secure. In fact, the intelligence agencies just 2 weeks ago came out with a report saying, make sure you don't use Signal.
It's just easier that way because it's already on my phone and everything.
Yeah, but I think the real reason they're using Signal to start with is that they don't want to be subject to a written record of this transaction, because, you know, there's FOIA requests, which is one thing. We would never get anything classified anyway from FOIA requests.
Right.
But Democrats would be able to see it themselves because it's part of the Presidential Records Act or whatever you want to call the thing. But
yeah.
So this is a way to hide it all. And so as always, it comes back to now the argument is about Hillary's emails.
Right.
That's what we're hearing on Fox.
Incompetence, and they're also dumb. And we're not talking at all about the material part of this, which is
should we be bombing?
Yeah. There's no discussion on that. And because Americans are so underinformed, that's all they're focused on. They have no idea what's happening right now is one, illegal, two, like more war crimes of just like fully bombing civilian apartment complexes. Like, so that's why, because, there's the whole group of Democrats who are really just Republicans anyway, whatever. But they just don't like Trump. And I think, Jeffrey Goldberg probably includes himself in that on some level. So he gets to walk the line of running cover, diverting attention, and making Trump look bad or his administration while still preventing any real conversation about what's really happening.
Yeah. And the wild thing to me is I've been listening to right-wing radio, watching Fox and all that stuff lately. Yeah. And they're spinning this whole thing as the Atlanta is a liberal rag. The Atlantic, sorry, not the Atlantic. The Atlantic, which is famously right-wing as fuck. They're all neoliberal, trickle-down economics pushers, have been forever.
Yeah.
And Fox and friends are all calling it a liberal rag.
Yeah, because this is what you would see in a liberal. Liberal, yes, but not left. This is from James Lee, and he's put together a really good thread on different, forays of Goldberg. But under Goldberg's leadership, The Atlantic has regularly published content that aligns with Israeli interests, particularly around the Middle Eastern policy and portrayal of Israel's security concerns regarding Palestinian and Iranian issues. He's big on getting into war with Iran also. But this is, and I think this was Yasha Levine, this shame organization, and I don't think that he reposted it, but I don't think they're sort of live now. But The Atlantic's Jeffrey Goldberg was a follower of Jewish right-wing terrorist Meir Kahane. He wrote a book called Prisoners, and in it he described a scene from the prison camp that he was a guard at, Qudsiya, in which his friend repeatedly hit a Palestinian prisoner in the head with a heavy, sharp-edged army radio, beating him to a bloody pulp, a beating that Goldberg deduced was prompted by something the prisoner said. Goldberg admits that he lied to cover up the crime. I found another military policeman and handed off the wobbling prisoner, who is by now bleeding on me. He fell. I lied. I mean,
that right there, you should be in jail for that. I don't think there's a statute of limitations on war crimes that you can admit to your war crimes 20 years later. I don't think that exists.
It does here because they're running every single legacy media. Like half the reporters at the New York Times and Axios. And it's the whole deal. They're all from 8200. They're all from the spy division of the IOF. And then, here's the other connection that I feel like we shouldn't forget is that The Atlantic is owned by Laurene Powell Jobs, Steve Jobs' widow, because billionaires are always great people. And her bestie is Ghislaine Maxwell, who was part of the whole operation with Jeffrey Epstein, which I think is pretty clear to everybody is a Mossad endeavor to, blackmail people and keep them under their control. Anyway, the whole thing is disgusting.
Yeah. Well, not to bring my stuff up again, but just to remind people, The Atlantic is the paper where David Frum works, who wrote a whole piece on me and the tweet that Trump shared saying it was the first use of deep fake technology by a presidential candidate because I shared a meme that took me all of 30 seconds to make that was ridiculous and clearly not a deep fake.
Yeah.
And that story got funneled from the Atlantic to all the major news shows, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, CNN, all ran stories on my stupid meme being the first deep fake technology without ever showing the meme to anyone. Because if they did, it would expose how ridiculous the whole thing was to everybody. But anyway, that's the Atlantic. This journalistic,
It's
great.
Disgusting. And it's pretty clear. Yeah, the tongue animation. It's pretty, I mean, because here's the thing is Goldberg should be humiliated that as a journalist, he left the chat. Who does that? Like, what kind of inquiring mind, sleuthing it out, journalist, investigative reporter leaves? So, like, already, the whole thing just feels off to me.
It's sus, and he probably was supposed to be in that chat the whole time because he was working with them, is the assumption that I'm working with.
Yep.
That they knew he was there. He was there to funnel stories too. But because this ended up getting out, they're throwing him under the bus and they're throwing that other guy under the bus.
Yeah, although,
Walsh.
okay, I mean, Republicans are saying he's a liberal, which is, but I just think it's more of the kayfabe. Like, to me, it's like every part of everything for the last like 20 years. And probably it's just been doing this forever, and I'm only more aware of it now. But like, because again, no one is talking about what they're actually doing. They're bombing civilians, have nothing to do with Houthis or Ansar Allah, but also Ansar Allah are the only military group doing anything to fight against what the world is knowing is a genocide. So like, nobody's talking about any of that. We're talking about all this silly stuff. And is he going to get pardoned or is he going to resign? And what does Trump say? And Trump forgives him. And Elon came out and said he was fine. And does JD match with JD or whatever? Like, it's like all this dumb crap that people are focused on. And nobody's talking about just innocent people who are being bombed by the US. Like, I don't know.
No, I mean, you're right. Obviously, this is all distraction. The real debate needs to be on the issues, but this is also clearly incompetence on many levels, just for this to be out in the public, whether they meant to expose some of their own incompetence, whether Dance is throwing them under the bus and making a break, who knows? But we're not talking about what matters, which is the war. And you got this journal. It's just one of those stories that exposes a lot of stuff. The fact that the journalist, he would rather keep in good standing with the Republicans so that he can get access in the future. That's why he left, apparently. Yeah. Like, what does that say? Like, it's all just,
it's so really an enormous mess and embarrassing, except for the fact that it is so devastating. Like watching those kids, and obviously there's been way more happening in Gaza and the West Bank also, but digging through the rubble to find a picture of their favorite football/soccer star, and nobody's talking about that. So all right, is there any more stuff on just because she can't fucking help herself, but Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, she injected herself in here, and she's the excuse for them saying, it's not a big deal. Look at how bad that was.
Yeah.
And she's in here to put herself in it. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, who else loses so horribly and then doesn't just shove off to her, woods with her Chardonnay and keeps talking? Like, people keep saying Hillary was right all along, which is so funny and pathetic because the one thing that she needed to be right on, she fucked it all up for everybody, which all of us were right all along. But then she keeps coming out of her little, what didn't she say? She just wants to go to the woods. And then she keeps like showing up, and it's always but her emails. And I think people forget what the content of those emails were. They were really incriminating, and they showed her corruption. They showed that she was in cahoots with our whole corporate media, and that we don't have a democracy in the Democratic primaries. Like, that's bigger than just like, oops, it's a server. Like,
but again, that reminds me of this story in a way, because what the media focused on with Hillary leaks and the Podesta emails and WikiLeaks and all that stuff, they focused on the little sensational stuff. They pretended there was nothing that showed any collusion with the press. And so if they just report for a month or two on, oh, look, it's not cool. You got Colin Powell talking shit about Barack Obama, or Hillary. Was it Hillary? It was just little stuff like that. Like, it exposed a lot of pettiness within the party, but like, no, it showed that you guys are fucking working with them. That was the main story here.
Yeah.
And just like this thing,
why would they
press
ever
collusion
report on that?
is not being, nobody's talking about the press collusion. Like, could that be the real reason this guy's in your fucking chat?
I mean, seriously, like, he helped sell the Iraq war. He's always pushing to get to war with Iran. He is a huge Zionist, a war criminal, and extricates himself from a chat where any normal or journalist worth his salt would, of course, stay in to find out what secrets he could reveal. It's just all pathetic. Do we have any video on that? I don't think so. Right?
Video, read the chat. No. I mean, we have the response, but let's save that for the Dem side.
Okay. All right.
It kind of fits the Dem side.
But, you know, Trump says he learned his lesson. It's a hard lesson, but Mike Waltz learned it. Meanwhile, I think it was all staged so that this is what we're all talking about instead of more war crimes by the U.S.
Yeah. Well, since you dropped the bomb, I mean, here is the top Dem. Don't worry. He's going to take care of this. He wrote a strong letter.
Well, look at that. Look at that. Thanks for showing up. But here's the thing. Why does he say he's the most unqualified? Like, what's his real reason? Nothing to do with bombing a sovereign country without congressional approval. Nothing to do with trying to continue facilitating a genocide. No, it's because he invited an ally actually into the chat. I mean, it's just, they all deserve each other. And we're getting,
it's all gross, but you know, I mean, just thinking out loud again, look, journalists have been allowed in war rooms before. So it's not like they're not allowed to be part of this stuff, but like the fact that they're making this break with him and this was an accident, which makes them look really incompetent as all hell. So I don't know. There's way more to this story than what we're getting, though, is the point. There's got to be a story behind the story that's not just sensational stuff, or we're getting set up and this is a plot to distract us. And I don't know. There's something there, though. There's some more there than we're
going on. There's no way. I mean, or maybe, I mean, I don't know, because if it were Hegseth, I'd be like, oh, he was on a coke bender or a drinking bender or something. But like, I don't know what Mike Waltz is, and maybe he is just incompetent. But like, is there really a difference between the adults in the room and the incompetence? Like, it really doesn't matter, honestly.
Yeah, well, anyone that's in this signal doing operational war stuff has taken every class and training on protecting classified information and knows they should not be in this signal chat.
Right.
So every single one of these fuckers should be coming before Congress and impeached, to be honest. Every single one of them, no matter who added who.
Yep.
Because that's not the point. It's not even who's in the room. It's who could be in the room.
Right.
It's who could be hacking this. This is unsafe. You're not allowed to do any of this.
And there were, I mean, by the way, there were like detailed, did I take it out now? Because I mean, but like there were certain detailed coordinates and times of attacks and all of that were in this signal. Like it.
Right. And the damage control or PR or whatever it was initially was like, none of this. No, you know, then they got Hegseth on TV saying none of this is operational. That guy's such a liar over at the Atlantic. You know, he's lied about all these other things. Meanwhile, it's clear as all day. It's one of those bald-faced lies. If you read the emails, if you've seen them, I mean, if you the texts, you
Yeah.
know it's a lie because it is clearly operational stuff, specifics of times and dates and outcomes.
It isn't it also just the thing of typing too fast and sorry and like emojis when a building's collapsed and like I don't know, it's just so disgusting. I mean, they really are the most depraved people in the world. It's just vile that they take pleasure in that. Like I just don't even I don't understand how these people were raised. That's all. I just don't get it. It's awful. Okay. Are we moving on? Oh, you muted yourself, but I just want to say yes, it is. It's my vacation. Ooh, it's black. Oh, that's funny. It's a black stemmed wine glass that my mom and dad used to always bring out for dinner parties, and my brother and I were never allowed to use. And I saw it tonight, and I said, "I'm using it. Here I am, vacation wine glass." Okay,
perfect. I instead of spinning the wheel, this timeline fits Signal, so let's just roll this timeline.
I am going to do a refill, and anybody should do anything you need, though.
Absolutely. And this is Jesse Wells, folk singer. He's done a lot of political stuff.
Yes.
He's an ally, so love him.
Hello, Mom. Hello, Dad. Things are great here at camp. I clap a lot. I feel important, but I sent the Atlantic. My government war plans. My real estate agent was in on the chat. He was way out in Russia, so they probably got that. The mission didn't do shit. We achieved no objective, but the emojis were sick, so I'm feeling effective. My little kerfluffle sure did cause a big fuss, kick up some dust, so I'm mentally preparing. Oh, yes, I'm aware I'm probably going underneath the big government bus. We killed 50 people and a couple of kids, but that's par for the course. Out here in the biz, the missiles cost millions, but Signal is free. Camp is good, Mom and Dad. Thanks for sending me.
Where'd we go?
That was a long tail on that. That's very funny. Yeah, I mean,
that just cut off, right?
No, it went, sort of, black. Anyway, that's I wonder, when Xander was like 2.5, Obama was president, and that was at the beginning of Obama, back when I still liked him, the very beginning, even though I know plenty of people saw through at the beginning, but Xander was like 2.5, and he had to dress for his Montessori party, and he had his little khakis and a little suit jacket and a tie. And when I was dropping him off, he said, "I look like Obama, President Obama, don't I?" Like, he was so, looking up to the person in charge. And I just don't think,
right.
I think we're done with that. We're done.
We're so done with that. Although kids are, on the right,
they love their Trump, their MAGA.
Some of them, but obviously that comes straight from your parents. And, obviously there's a right-wing MAGA crowd that just loves that he's rude and crass and sticking it to the establishment and, norms, and, he said the R word, we love it. That kind
and
of
meanwhile,
stuff.
He is the fucking establishment. You don't get to make that kind of money and be president if you're not the establishment. You don't get to continue a genocide and bomb other countries. He's the total establishment. So let's talk about what the establishment is doing here in our own country. About a week and a half ago, there was, I just can't believe, we need more Houthis everywhere. We need Houthis. A group of Venezuelan non-legal, all of them, but some of them were, but native Venezuelans, some of them have lived here for years, were rounded up and sent not back to Venezuela, which that deportation would have been ugly and disgusting enough because, again, some of them, they were married to American citizens. They've been working in the U.S. for, I think some even like decades, but they were with no due process, no court. They were labeled violent gang members and sent to basically a torture dungeon in El Salvador. And I mean, there are so many layers to this that are problematic, but there's no due process for these people, right? So that's the whole point. They just went straight from here to a prison in another country where they're based on
largely getting tortured.
Yeah.
And these tattoos, some of them were blatantly not gang tattoos. Some of them you can track the origin.
Yep.
They even talked to the tattoo artist on one case, and they're just not. But this person can't even make their case because there's a thing called due process where you're allowed to do that in America.
Yeah.
Which allegedly separates us from a lot of countries.
And it's not just for Americans. Like, that is the thing that I think a lot of people on the right really don't understand. Like, you cannot just you have rights. The Bill of Rights is for humans, not just Americans. So if you are here on our soil, you are supposed to be guaranteed due process. Certainly not sent to some prison labor camp dungeon for the rest of your life. Which
if you don't have your fucking state ID on you, could happen in this world we're living in right fucking now, especially if you're protesting the wrong thing at the wrong time.
Yeah. And so they put out this, and I'm sorry because I now see a couple people saying that you don't want to watch it again, but for anybody who hasn't seen, I do think it's important because the way this administration revels in the cruelty, it's really hard because I think a lot of liberals like to make excuses for Democrats. And then when Republicans come in and are so brazen about their cruelty, it wakes them up a little bit. So I don't know. I just think it's important to see the different tactics that these two parties that work hand in hand use to help keep getting exactly what they both want. So this is the ad that was put out, highly produced, about what the Trump administration just did to these people who have no due process. I'm sure most of these people aren't guilty of a single thing. And they get no due process. They're labeled violent criminals and sent away for life. They will never get out, I'm probably.
puedo ser tomada.
So fucking disgusting.
It is absolutely Nazi shit. And
Let me
yeah.
if you're the police and you're doing something righteous, you don't do a rap video style thing where everyone in the police is masked up and you're dehumanizing all these people, and you make sure and show their brown face, you make sure and show them suffering with the necks bent down, you make sure they're getting stripped of the humanity and style by shaving their heads and all that shit, and all your guys are the bad guys with fucking, you can only see their eyes. Meanwhile, we're supposed to take our masks off and with COVID in our face everywhere we fucking go. We're supposed to just, hey, it's us, me, Pat Cody, you know, come get me. Give me COVID. But here you are, your guys are fucking masked up and hidden.
And again, we have to take their word for it that all of these people are guilty. No due process, nothing. And all this is to do is to make us know, don't speak out. It could happen. I mean, that's why when people say, like, you know, we are all Palestinians, what they are doing to Palestinians, they are bringing back here, the boomerang effect, whatever they are doing. They just arrested a Tufts University student today. DHS and ICE come and detain this person. They there was a nursing, I mean, like one after another. Anybody who even posted something in support of Palestinians is being either expelled or deported, or, you know, like, I mean, we haven't even heard from Mahmoud Khalil in a week and a half.
Yeah, but, and your degree is we just removed your revoked your degree.
Like,
we revoked your degree.
From how is that even possible? Like, even if you did something horrible, like can they revoke a degree that you earn like in regular life?
It's like a certification. No, you cannot. It's just ridiculous. So and these guys making the argument, okay, they got a lot of pushback, as they should, on the lack of due process.
Right.
So now that the argument that they're making on Fox is, well, you know, we're doing such a good job and it's so big of an important thing that we can't expect due process.
There's so many of them.
Newsflash, due process is a part of the legal requirement for these actions.
Yeah.
It's the basis of this whole, you know, Constitution in America, freedom and how you treat people. It's written on paper on how you're supposed to treat people. That's, you know, so when, you know, it just takes me to 2016 Trump. I wasn't worried about the constitutional challenge, whatever.
Right.
But now we should be. I mean, it's happening like in front of our fucking eyes, and the Democrats let us get here.
Well, yeah, they did. Because let's just remember fucking Obama. Deportation machine Obama built for President Trump. This is an article from The Nation magazine. Before the end of his, and this was back in 2017 or 2016 that this was written. Before the end of his first term in office, the Obama administration expanded a small program by about, get ready for this, 3,600%. When Barack Obama took office after his 2008 election, he inherited a budding deportation apparatus with its roots in the imagination of the War on Terror. Reactionaries who created the Office of Homeland Security in 2001, later the Department of Homeland Security. When he leaves office, he will leave behind to his successor the most sophisticated and well-funded human expulsion machine in the history of the country.
And that just goes to show how bullshit this whole thing, this whole left-right thing is. You know, it's just horseshit. And pretending that Democrats have no power when, look, we're seeing Trump things he doesn't want. He's just like, the whole department's gone. Gone. Department of Health, gone. Vaccine people, gone.
And if you say, like, defund ICE, or abolish ICE, you're kind of radical. Yeah. Yeah,
but the traditional way that you deal with policy put in place by former administrations you don't like is you underfund it, you starve it to death, you find ways, you put people in charge of it that don't agree with it, like the right is doing with vaccines. They got a guy in charge of vaccines now that's anti-vaxxer. Yep. That's how you handle it. Instead, Democrats are like, hey, how about 3,600% more funding?
I mean, honestly,
not for.
I saw somebody tweet about it, like, hey, it's a good time to remember that Obama increased ICE's funding by 3,600%. And I was like, oh, I think that must be a typo. And so I started like 3,600%. That's insane. Also, as we all know, Deporter in Chief, this is from Kansas City Star, number of Border Patrol agents surpassed 20,000 for the first time. And just because of, you know, the build the wall guy it didn't start with Trump. Nearly 700 miles of border fencing was completed. Immigration enforcement spending rose to new highs. I mean, it's disgusting. This is also from friend of show, Steven Sendler, who does such great graphics that like just show it all. So this just shows you how, you know, the ratchet effect. This isn't even the ratchet effect because it just keeps going up. It's like, nope. I mean, they just keep increasing on each other, the funding for ICE. It's so inhumane. It's so ugly, and it's completely unnecessary. It's not going to change anything that is truly valuable that the United States is supposed to stand for. All it does, it's going to make me, you know, our higher education institutions used to be something that people around the world aspired to come be a part of, even if they didn't stay here, right? Now they are being, I mean, they've been demolished, right? They, you know, it's the thing so many people have said that they're like hedge funds with a side hustle in academia, but like barely. But now they are fully supporting fascism, and it was happening under Biden, and it's doubling down under Trump. Who's going to ever want to come here? Like, we are going to have the biggest brain drain. I would never come to this country to study. You can't speak. You can't even post something on social media defending people who are the victims of a genocide.
No, at the most liberal institutions, you know, Columbia of all places is just really fallen off. I mean, and now they're, you know, they were held up as an example by Trump and got was it $400 million?
Yep.
Pulled because, you know, until they met his standards, and so they agreed to all this just awful fucking terrible stuff, and they were the hub of the protests during
they were already
the Palestine
bad
stuff.
Like he made an example of them, but they were the reason they were in the news is because they called the fucking NYPD in on their own students and professors and faculty.
Yeah, so he made an example, like, if you're not as bad as, like, they were terrible, but they weren't terrible enough, so we're going to revoke your funding. And I just want to show this clip. We're kind of going backwards a little bit, but
we're weaving
we're doing the weave.
We're doing the weave.
But to just be on Fox and telling everybody openly, like, we just can't do due process anymore.
We don't have money.
I also think it's not practical to think that we can do due process on 8 million people.
No,
there's 22 million people here, and minimum illegal already just in the last 3 administrations. And there's some people that got through with Trump's administration. If we're going to give these guys a day in court and a lawyer, we can't do it. They don't deserve it. Our system doesn't need to be double burdened.
They don't deserve it. They're human beings. Like, that is, you know, the dehumanization of Palestinians, of Black and brown people in our country. It's amazing. Like, you label somebody a criminal, you say they are mass rapists, they're violent criminals who rape people. That's like, rape is the big, that was like the Frank Luntz thing, but like that's what they're saying about.
Yeah, and the due process is to show that they're not the rapist. Can we show that they're not the rapist when they're not the rapist?
Yeah,
that's due process.
Like, take some of Elon's money and all of your billionaire pals, get some more lawyers, get some more judges, get people in the courts, fix the immigration system, all of the things that have not been fixed for decades. That is by choice. It's 100% by choice. It's a total mess. Of course we can do this, because otherwise, what in the hell do we stand for? Like, what is the U.S.? What are they like? I don't even understand what they think they are fighting to protect anymore. Honestly, it's just like,
their own base is not
nationalism.
Really buying. The right-wing base is not supporting this stuff. It's just, what can they do about it now too? You got this guy, you still got mainstream media on the left, center, whatever, CNN and MSNBC. They're like, these things are bad, but then they're still like, sort of like, yeah, but you voted for this, we got to write it out, see what happens. Serves you right. MSNBC
really
is
bad.
MSNBC is leaning on their big messaging is serves you right because you didn't vote blue. Not we're going to do anything to stop this. Not how awful this stuff is. Like, not that Democrats could do anything. Not that we could tell you guys to do anything about this. Just one solution: vote for some more Democrats in 2 years in the midterms.
I mean, the fundraising texts are insane. Like, what is the plan? I know we're going to get to Dems, but like, what is the plan? They don't even say, just vote more. Yeah. Okay. Anything else on, the GOP?
We have a lot on GOP still.
Yeah, we barely even, like, it's just so despicable what is happening. And there's still more.
IRS is agreeing to, go after ICE people, share the records so that we can deport people. You got Trump. $15 is too much for you guys. Sorry about that.
Canceled. And then, that was already a joke, but $15 and remember, that only happened for federal workers, right? Because we didn't do the real $15 minimum wage, but for federal workers, Biden did that. And
the whole deal with all of this is like, government doesn't work. We're proving it by defunding and stripping them of everything. That way we can privatize as much of this as possible. There's two benefits. We're privatizing it all so that me and my buddies and people who donate, they all get a piece of this action. The Postal Service, we're going to get a piece of that. We're going to get a piece of prisons. We're going to get a piece of everything, right? So there's that part of it. And then the other piece is deregulate it all, because regulation all comes from the government. So any business regulation that is costing these guys like 0.2% of their profits a year, that shit's gone.
Bye. Yep.
Bye.
Yeah. We are all, and again, I always feel so crazy or like insensitive to say like we're all going to just lose all of our civil rights, because obviously there have been people in this country who have never enjoyed any of the privileges I thought I had or that we all had, and so I know that this has been a long project, but it is expanding out and it's going to truly affect all of us. Just to speak out like political statements can get your job with offer withdrawn. It can get your degree revoked, and it will not just be focused on Black and brown people. Yeah.
No, you got kids now. Hey, it's good to be a kid in Florida, because now, especially if you're an undocumented immigrant, if you're a kid and you're like, hey, those undocumented immigrants took my jobs, Well, now you can work at any age. That's what's coming in Florida. It's like, because they have to. We have a sick workforce from COVID.
Yep.
Sick, disabled, not working. The school systems can't fill the classrooms because everybody's permanently sick. We're not even talking about that. We can get to that later. But so let's just go back to hiring kids to do all these jobs.
Which, I mean, the crazy thing is, like, we've been covering for the last several years. They are finding many states that are flagrantly violating child labor laws. Yeah. But now they're just gonna. I mean, and that's always like everything is a test bubble, right? And so, how much of that can we do? Like, okay, your parents aren't making enough. They have to work 2 to 3 jobs. You don't have health care. You can barely afford rent. You're food insecure. You're in crazy debt. And wouldn't it be nice if Johnny could just work after school until 2 a.m, even though that's supposed to be illegal? And that's like, well, does Johnny really need to go to school? Like, what's he even learning here? Because our education sucks so hard anyway, because we've defunded public schools. So, like, your 2 options are work, become a criminal, or go into the military. That's it.
That's 3 options, Lila. You're canceled.
Did I say 2?
Yep. What the hell? Terrible reporting.
2 kinds of. No, wait. There's a good math joke that I'm going to forget. Go ahead.
But that is.
I know. This is it. There are 3. This is a good math joke. 3 kinds of people in the world: those who know how to count and those who don't. Come on.
There you
That's
go.
Good. All right. Good. Sorry.
Saw it coming.
Thanks.
But that is it's the test bubble, and like you said, I mean, even if they don't change the laws on these things, if you're just defunding and making the organizations ineffective, they can't put the resources into tracking down the criminals, right? So the people that violate, there's no, just like with the FCC, they don't. There are so many the election laws are broken by every Democratic sponsored campaign and Republican sponsored campaign, the big ones. They break them all the time, but there's no teeth to any of it because there's nobody there. They don't have they unfunded the department that regulates it. So it's just,
you're never going to pay
So
for it. Yeah.
that's already why we have these child work labor forces in some of these states.
Yep.
And so they're just going to expand on that, see if they can get away with it. I mean, this clip of the Social Security guy,
Howard Lutnick. Howard Lutnick, Department Secretary of Commerce, a billionaire. Yeah. He's a billionaire. You should know that. Billionaire.
Right. So when they say they're not really coming for your Social Security, well, here's them talking about Social Security.
Let's say Social Security didn't send out their checks this month. My mother-in-law, who's 94, she wouldn't call and complain. She just wouldn't. She'd think something got messed up, and she'll get it next month.
Yeah.
A fraudster always makes the loudest noise, screaming, yelling, and complaining.
Or not the hungry person that is dying on the street because they can't fucking eat. They don't make noise. You just don't.
Mother-in-law, do you think she even knows when her Social Security check comes in? Her son-in-law is a fucking billionaire. What are you talking about? Like, and it's
the balls for this guy to come out there and just say that shit on TV these days. Yeah, we need 1 million fucking Luigis. Yeah. We need,
And what he just said was, if you complain about
countries.
You're the criminal. If you complain about it, you're sketch, and you're probably part of the corruption there.
That's
and we don't have
us.
We don't have due process because it's just too many. There are too many criminals to give everybody due process. It's too difficult. We're going to send you off to El Salvador's dungeons. Where, by the way, Venezuela is not El Salvador. Like, that's not deportation. Sending people back to their own country, as horrific as it is, at least it's like, okay, I mean, I hate it, but like, I understand, like, you're being sent back to the place that you came from. Like, you're sending people not to their own place and just straight to a dungeon.
Well, you don't get to go normally to any prison without a trial.
I mean,
jail, yes, but like torture in another.
Yeah,
we've lost
torture.
We've lost it.
I mean, it really like, okay. So that's the Republicans. The one thing, I mean, this is crazy to me, and I know it's the broken clock and all that, but like Marjorie Taylor Greene, I mean, this goes back to like the, Israel and the bombing of Yemen and the gearing up for war with Iran. But like, I've not heard a single American say they want to get another war in the Middle East or anywhere else. Not one. All I've heard is a loud cry demanding our government and its leaders put America first. I don't support going to war on behalf of other countries. I support peace and fixing our own massive problems for our own people. It's literally my job title, U.S. representative. I mean, she's an asshole. I can't stand her, but that's right. And we need more Democrats screaming about that, or people on the left screaming about that, instead of the Signal chat, which, yes, I mean, incompetent, inept, could be dangerous, all of that, but like bigger issues to talk about than, do you know what the initials, JG stand for?
Yeah. I mean, look, but I go back to like, why is she even saying this? She's saying this because she wants to be a populist, and that's it. But
yeah,
the fact that she's saying it shows that there's a recognition by people on the right and on the left that they can't be out in public anymore. Town halls on either side of the aisle are disasters. They are not. The public is like, I want you to die. I voted for you. You should die. That's the greeting they're getting in all these town halls.
And we're going to show one of them, but I do just want to point out a really important comment from Zainab.
I can't read what's on.
Okay, wait, but I know we have a little bit more of the GOP before we move on, right?
Yeah, we could. I mean, we have plenty we can go with. Or FBI. The FBI now, their job is, and Ken Klippenstein just wrote an article on this, but they're protecting CEOs because they're directed by the government to do what? The government's whole role right now is protect big business. I mean,
it's a whole role ever.
Spray painting a Tesla is a terrorist act.
Yep.
That's what we're looking at now. So the FBI is being weaponized to protect Tesla, basically. This is the short version of this.
I mean, it's unbelievable. And they've all of the Cybertrucks have been recalled pretty much of Tesla, which is hilarious.
Tesla glued on their side panel. Those big panels you see on the side of the cars, they're just fucking glued on. Anyone who's ever worked with glue, which I don't know how, other than sniffing it, not probably a lot of us, but I've done like
a different level. I've used glue, but worked with glue.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, okay, I did my own upholstery in my car that I restored, and like, it's such a nightmare to get glue that works, that holds up in the heat. It's
right, yeah,
real obvious fucking thing, and to glue on panels to this big car that's bulletproof, fucking rugged as all hell. You're just gluing on, and they use the wrong glue. Like, the right glue isn't going to matter in 20 years. So what's the expiration of the right glue? That's what I want to know.
Right.
Cars are going to fucking fall apart even when you get the right glue on it. You don't glue on car parts on the exterior of a car.
Yeah. He's going to take up residency in a different country by that point. He's just going to keep...
Yeah, even the little stupid car logos that are this big in plastic that can't hurt anyone if they fall off your car, they're not glued on. They're stuck in with, they use production methods that can't rattle off, but car panels can rattle off if the car's been in the sun for too long with Tesla. That's how stupid this fucking guy running our country is.
I mean, it is really gross. This was spotted in Alabama. This is the immigrant who took your job. And I mean, just the level of, like, their whole doggy, whatever the hell thing was to get rid of waste and corruption. And all they have done is amplify it. And they're hurting. Like, it's really, all of these things would be not really comical, but like buffoonish if you removed all the pain and suffering that they are causing, because they are just, they truly are just imbeciles, but they have so much power, and they're just destroying everything. Okay.
This should be really clear to people. Sorry.
No,
One
go
more
ahead.
thing.
Yeah. Are
we done with the GOP? Because I wanted to end on the corrupt faith advisor.
Yeah. Let's move on to her, because she's a perfect example of.
So as bad as things are, if you just donate $1,000 before Easter to Paula White, the White House faith advisor, you will get 7 supernatural blessings, and God will assign an angel to you. He'll give you prosperity. He'll take sickness away from you. He will give you long life.
That's like the 7 virgins or being promised a star or something. It's so lovely, because I don't think you can return it if it doesn't work out. It's not like,
Well, I mean, if you
complain, you're one of the corrupt ones. Just ask Howard Lutnick.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want a COVID vaccine, is that really important? If you could just talk to God directly for $1,000 and get sickness taken away from you?
She's got a point. I think I heard her speaking in tongues. I mean, she's a mess. She's really a mess. All right, let's find a moment of cheer before we move on to the rest of
do it.
The rest of it. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, baby.
That's my kind of advisor.
That is cool.
All right, I'm putting myself for 1 second. I am closing. And
yeah, baby.
You got a good one?
Animal sounds. Let's roll with the animal sounds.
All right.
Educational show here.
I love Some of those are pretty high pitched.
Creepy.
A little creepy. A little creepy. That's so funny, you guys. Yeah, crazy. Okay, all right. Moving on to
as bad as things are, have faith that Democrats are going to save us.
Well, here's the thing. You can always count on Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. Let us know the Democrats have a real direction now, which is straight to the bottom.
Straight down.
Straight down.
Straight down.
Straight down. This is the latest poll. I think it was a CNN poll. Oh my God, it's really small. But anyway, basically, it's great. There's a, nobody, basically it's the same. They're too extreme. They're generally mainstream. Nobody cares, because mostly these polls are done to not talk about policy and to keep everybody just battling each other. Then, okay, so that's one completely unsubstantial. That's what I meant to say. I have had a lot to drink now. Insubstantial, and it's 9:20 my time, I'm just saying. Insubstantial. This is interesting, though. The Dem leaders are AOC at 10% and Kamala Harris at 9%. Where has she been, by the way? What has she done anything? You want to be the leader of the free world. Everything is spinning out. We are fucked. She's nowhere. Hillary's doing butter emails, and Obama's putting out his what SoundClouds or whatever the hell. Like, what?
But you know what's funny is like, okay, if they had taken this poll a month ago when she was out there trying to chime in on these things, she would have been way down at the bottom of that list. But as always, the more you hide her and you just have people on Twitter PRing her up, like, you know, she was not that bad. We liked her.
Yeah,
you know, blame the
joy.
other guy.
It was
you
really
know, so
fun and joy. Stop being so sexist and racist. It was joyous.
Even if she's second on those lists now, if she comes out and talks again, she's going to be 17th. Is my point. The minute she talks.
I think you're right. And sorry, I just saw this and we should have mentioned it because this is a crazy, weird, fun fact. But that faith leader of Trump's is married to Journey keyboardist Jonathan Cain. Like, what?
Journey that I grew up on? Yeah. Journey?
Don't stop believing, baby.
Don't stop believing. Oh my God. That's painful. That is painful. Really painful. You know, I did the walkathon because of Journey. You remember the walkathon?
Yeah.
Does anyone know that is? Who else is old? Anyway, let's move on.
Who has two thumbs? No, okay. All right. So just as a reminder, these are Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer. So AOC is at 10%. I mean, all of this sucks so hard, but the leader of the House and the minority leader of the House and minority leader of the Senate are at 6% and 2%. And then Fetterman comes in. Listen, whatever's happening with these Bernie rallies and AOC, at least I understand that all they're going to do is shepherd everybody back to the Democratic Party. Until that happens, what I am encouraging or encouraged by is that tens of thousands of people are coming out to hear billionaires suck. Democrats are not fighting for us, and neither are Republicans, of course. But that anger and the dissatisfaction with the people who are the ones that I think a lot of Democrats are blue MAGA, as we all believe, right? So to have them coming out and be furious and to hear a message, because I don't know what she's saying, but I know Bernie says the same stuff he always says. We deserve healthcare. We deserve living wages. He's horrible, he's horrible on foreign policy. And that's sad because he's the best one in both houses, I think, but he's horrible. But for domestic issues and for the economy, it's good for people to hear that and to start believing it. I think
it's a net positive. Like, if you asked me, do I want these to continue? Do I want him to go around the country tapping into the outrage and saying that it's the billionaire problem, it's the economic problems that you're mad at? Yes, keep doing that, right?
Yeah.
We're all gonna say, but just don't tell him to vote Democrat in the end, but whatever. But even knowing that he's doing it, I would still want him to do that.
Yeah.
It's just like he woke a lot of us up, and a lot of us went and said, you still got to vote Dem, right? But a lot of us didn't, and that's where we are. So he's doing the work we need to be doing to these normie Dems,
right?
But we need to snatch them as quick as we possibly fucking can and disavow this belief that voting somehow solves it, even if he's saying vote independent, which that's their spin now.
We say run independent, but still vote.
Yes, don't vote third party.
Yeah,
but vote independent. Yeah. But cut all that bullshit. Yeah. Snatch these people up and say, you can't just join protests and boycotts. You got to do that, and we need some bigger action that economically hurts these people. And some of the people we need to hurt are the Democrats.
Yeah, absolutely, because they're the ones taking the place of an opposition party. Like, if you want to fight the fascism, you're not doing it with Democrats. And I do think, 8 years ago, a lot of normie Democrats, liberals, whatever, were like, he's radical. Does he have to call himself a socialist? Like, all this bullshit, but is healthcare really a human right? And I don't know. I mean, it'd be nice, but understand policy and don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good enough. And pragmatism and it takes time. And of course, you can fucking bomb another country illegally overnight. You can give trillions of dollars to your billionaire pals overnight. But healthcare, which 31 of 32 industrialized nations have somehow figured out, too complicated for us, and we'll get there eventually. Not really. But so I do think it's really good that so many people are coming out to hear this. I agree with you. I mean, 15,000 in Tempe, 34,000 in Denver. It's his largest rally ever. He's 83 years old. I mean, he's 83 years old. And he's the leader of the Democratic Party. I mean, that's just like, they don't like him. They don't want him. But that's the truth. He is the only leader. Because AOC is whatever, whatever. But like he's the leader. He's 83 years old. Do you like the energy that takes? It's all sad. Okay.
Sorry, I'm watching my cat literally opening the cabinet where the treats are.
Really?
So.
That's amazing. She's brilliant. How's she doing that?
She is smart. She saw me put them in there, but anyway, I would turn my camera to it, but it's too much work and my kitchen's dirty. So,
my mom told me to be very careful with her good glass. And I'm worried that if I turn, because my lighting here is not very good, that I will, when I like gave her a hard time, like, really, I'm so careful. I don't break stuff. I'm really careful. But like tonight will be the night that I break it. So I'm not moving anything, even though lights are going out all around me. But
you should end the show like a rock star and just break that thing on the desk. Like, thank you. Good night.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, Mom, if you're listening.
I just, the new spin, and we're not going to like dive deep into it, but this progressive new tactic that these scam shill artists are doing, and one of them is Ezra Klein, and he wrote that book with somebody else on abundance. And basically,
abundance is such horse shit.
But it's, they're not applying it to healthcare or a living wage or housing for people. It's all about deregulation, and we can it's all like YIMBY crap, and we can deregulate. We can have all the housing we need. We just need to take away regulation. But they're not talking about any of the vital stuff, but they're kind of putting a progressive patina over it, where if you're not listening carefully, it almost sounds like MMT, where it's like the US dollar, we have a fiat.
We can do whatever we want.
Which is true, but they don't want to do whatever we want. They just want to not be constrained by regulations that would protect working class people. It took me that long. Anyway, fuck them and their abundance. This will be part of our show that we're doing with Zainab it's a big project, but this is all part of it. But like, this is not the ticket. I know we all know that, but like, this is a fucking scam.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it, but and we didn't talk about any of this pre-show, but somebody broke down his chart for affordable housing, and they're like, oh, you can build these units, and then these teeny fucking units, right? And somebody did the math on the cost of product. It's like something like $100,000 to build these little shitty things, and it's just
$1,500 a square foot or something.
Like the worst value ever for construction. And that's the point, is these guys are lobbying for methods that are going to just be, it's sort of like trickle down, like, oh, we're so rich now, we'll just trickle down. You just got to get cut the red tape, and let's make this happen. It's the regulations. It's the local communities that aren't being creative enough because they're hampered by all this lefty democratic, we got to do these things the right way stuff. But it's just disaster capitalism. It's a book on disaster capitalism, on how to profit from homelessness.
Yeah. We're going to charge the government several hundred times what it would actually cost, but we'll get rich off of it. All right. Wait, did we already do a thing?
What are we talking about here? Strike? This
I
cat
know. I'm
is
trying to read everybody's stuff, but
causing havoc.
I can't do it all.
All right, on the DM stuff.
Okay.
So this quote right here, his job as the top senator. First off, your job as senator is to represent your district mostly. Other than that, it's like countrywide, like, you know, policies that are important that aren't protected by.
How about just like being able to live in a home with a roof over your head, have food, have a good job, have vacation, have a good education? Nope, not that. None of that matters to this fucking asshole. What does he care about?
His job is to keep the left pro-Israel. Okay, so who do you work for to make that job happen? You don't work for your district. You don't work for us, because keeping us on a policy belief of killing all these innocent people in lieu of our own, you know, sorry, MMT folks, but it's choices, you know, or at this point. But the money spent over there, spend it over here.
Fight for that. Like, your only job is to represent your constituents and your country and
your state. If you gave your state 1/50th of the money we're spending over in Israel, your state would be so much better off. People would be better educated.
Yep.
Kids would be better fed. Schools would, you know, not have all this sickness because you'd put in air filtration systems that are. We're 50 years behind.
Clean air. Keep your people safe and protect them. Yeah, it's gross. And, you know, again, like Democrat in a Democratic state, in LA, now we are learning that we have a massive budget deficit, and massive, huge layoffs. And the small print is for the $1 billion gap. It's lower than expected taxes. Do you know how many billionaires we have in our state? Lower, fucking tax the shit out of them, but we will never do that. And that's different. Okay, whatever. Like, but for state and city, we do depend on taxes. We need to tax people. We need that revenue. But the other thing is liability payouts. And that's because of our police, who are corrupt, criminal Gestapo, and they are sued to the high heavens, and we're paying for that. So we pay their salaries, and then we pay for, like, when they lose their lawsuits.
Yeah, cops in LA are making $200,000+ a year.
Yeah, they get
like that alone should disgust you. Now, even if they had this noble job, which they don't have, because their real job is just protecting property, like their security guards, like their rent-a-cop security guards protecting property, and harassing protesters and protecting politicians. That's their job. LA has a police force it's more than it's like the 7th or something biggest expense of it compares as a military of like the 7th. Somebody has the number, I don't know the number, but one of the top 10 expenditures of a countries for their military is the LA Police Department, for fuck's sake. And they can't afford services, and you're going to tell me the most corrupt fucking police force next to maybe, I don't know, I'm not going to rank them, but like, people don't want this. They don't want the police force there. They don't want the fucking cop cities being built. They don't want this stuff. They want healthcare.
Yeah. They solve 2% of crimes. They look up 40%. Well, there's a horrible meme like of a cop saying, I'm not racist. My wife has a black eye. And I was like, that's actually perfect. They abuse their spouses. They abuse people on the street. They're disgusting, racist. How many times has our dear friend Tina gotten punched by LA cops?
Yeah.
They're horrible. Horrible.
And these cops do not, you know, the thought out there is, it's cops have the most dangerous job. The cops don't have the most dangerous job because they don't do fucking shit. They don't confront people. They don't the courts have even ruled they don't have to confront people, even when told about a risk right in front of them. They're not going to be held liable. Like, you know, it's dangerous. I don't want to get fucking near it.
Yeah. We have Good Samaritan laws for us, but cops don't have to do anything if their lives are in danger, and it's ingrained in them that we are the enemy, right? So like they look at us as the opposition and the people, not that they need to serve and protect their community, but that we could possibly be the danger that prevents them from going home at night.
They could shoot me because I say the wrong thing at a protest.
Yep.
And they're protected legally from it, you know, they'll come up with a reason.
Yep.
Right. I was a threat, but there's no converse of that of like, well, they have to actually face threats. No. So if they don't have to face threats, why do they have to shoot me for being a protester?
In the knees, just like the IDF for peaceful
the unweaponed guy.
All right, we better move on. This is a silly little bit, but it also just shows what a shit show we are in with the Democratic Party. Do we even care about the Crockett thing? Do we care?
I care about it. Okay, yes, because this pisses me off. Sorry.
I mean, it's awful. No, I mean, I care. It's just, I've
been mad about it online.
Yeah, yeah. No, good. I mean, I do too. I just think I was like taking us into something you want to talk about. Okay, good. You want to show it? Yeah. Talk it? Set it up? She's down in
Crockett.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. I'm going to show it. Got it right here.
Here's Crockett at all places at the Human Rights Campaign speaking on Abbott, the governor there.
Greg Abbott.
Who is in a wheelchair. That's the whole point. For
40 years. Like he had some accident.
Yeah. So and make your own, just watch.
Because we in these hot ass Texas streets, honey. Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot ass mess, honey. So yes.
I mean, her whole thing with Marjorie Taylor Greene or Taylor Greene, whatever. Like I do feel like I don't know what she cares about. I don't know what she's for. I don't know what policies she's fighting for, what her platform is. She just kind of gets in there and stirs up shit, calls people names. What'd she say about like your banging blonde Barbie body, whatever the hell? Like I feel like it's a Jerry Springer level event. And like
it is
gross.
But this
fucking gross.
It's always gross when libs take this tact of like, yeah, you know, we can't be as woke as the other guys. Let's be unwoke now, which is the new spin.
Yeah.
Which is just doubly as bad now because we're seeing Nazism and like going after the disabled people.
Yeah. No, and that's where it starts.
It's very real and happening in front of us.
Yeah.
So for her to pick this wasn't an off the cuff, like, oh, it was kind of a cringe moment because she didn't, plan it. No, strategically, she's a Democratic rising star. They want her to be doing this. She's taking this tack of not being woke. Let's go after the wheelchair guy. I mean, go after him, of course, but like, don't make the wheelchair part of the joke. This is not complicated to understand. There's got all these
of infinity to go after him on.
All these things you can go after. And so my beef is, yes, libs are always going to embrace this shit. Libs are, because they don't have morals. They don't have any values. But if you're actually a leftist and progressive, you don't take this. You don't embrace this. You say, like we should, that you could make all these points without throwing disabled people under the bus. The wheelchair being the butt of the joke is fucking awful.
Disgusting. It's disgusting.
Just don't do it. And I posted about it and I got fucking 50 leftists saying.
I have to say I was shocked by the responses to you. I was shocked
by it. The number of leftists saying, because I said something like, if you use disabled, stuff like as the butt of the joke, you're trash. And the people are like, I'm trash.
Yeah.
And these are mutuals of mine. I'm like, yeah, you are. You're fucking trash. Think about it. What
Abbott's
the fuck are you
horrible.
doing?
He deserves everything. No, like
To me, that's like if it's a black Republican, well, we can use the N-word on a black Republican.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, tell me the difference. Please tell me the difference.
Also, it just shows how totally bankrupt most of the people in the Democratic Party are. Because, again, there are, just like Trump, you could impeach him over, like, the Hatch Act. Is that what I mean? Like shilling his own products, whatever. Bombing sovereign nations without congressional authority. Like, there are horrifying actions that he takes. Abbott is a disgusting, like, their energy board goes out. He's privatized all of it. He's, flying, immigrants who are just hoping for some respite from the disasters they're leaving and flying them all over and treating them like they're criminals because they're trying to escape. Like, he's a disgusting human being. And if you care about policies that could lift people up, that's what you focus on. If it's just a big show, then you go for the cheapest shot and, you're just like a fucking wrestler. That light went out again. Crazy.
But if you're a leftist progressive, like, just don't do it. Like, we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. You're giving credence to the argument that the left progressive stuff is hypocritical too. Like, don't do that. Let the libs show their asses with this and call them out on it and say, this is why we don't support either party.
Yep.
We don't support either party because none of this is right. It's not right that our guy is doing this or our girl is doing this or our woman is doing this. It's just not right. You don't like. Think of someone in a wheelchair watching this who's a Democrat, disabled person who's been fucking shunned by the whole party for not repping them in COVID. That they, maybe there's other people who are at serious risk of death from COVID.
Yep.
Who was a lot of the wheelchair people. They fall into that camp. And they're like, Democrats fucked us over. And here, what? You're making fun of this. You're calling Governor Hot Wheels.
Yeah, that's a point. Like, that's your dig.
Ha Hot Wheels.
Got him. Yeah, no.
Ha. And then to see all the Democrats and progressives and libs come out and say, well, yeah, but he's bad. So it's funny that he's in a wheelchair because he's bad. No, maybe it's funny that he got suffered, that he got inflicted, whatever.
Now you're trying to like help it out, but no, you're right.
Nah.
I mean, there's nothing. It's just not like, you don't make those jokes. You don't say the R word. It's not cool. It's not edgy. There are real policies. There are real issues that you can fight on that are substantive that would help people. And what she's doing is just trying to become like a meme or a whatever sensation on, social media. And that, I mean, I don't even know what she stands for, except for trying to be funny and like good disses and what was her big remember dancing with her staff to the Kendrick Lamar, like, what is that? What are you talking about? I don't know. Just gross. She's gross. But she came up with excuses. Yeah, go ahead.
But none of it meets the moment. The moment is we have Nazi leadership. We have people going after disabled people. We have people of color being discriminated against. We have all these terrible things happening to people. So you have to say, I'm going to jump in and protect the most marginalized first.
Yeah.
Because they are the most at risk right fucking now. Not, the joke is that person at the bottom.
Yep. Yeah, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. And she made dumb excuses about that's not what she meant. It's just hot here. And she was talking about him busing migrants to other cities and whatever. It doesn't even matter. She's gross. And she's shown it from day one, pretty much. I would kind of just love to get to a few things that are happening in Israel. Do you want to say anything else about what's going on? Do you want to just
with
really
Democrats,
the COVID thing, and then get to Israel because it's really late? What do you think?
Oh yeah, we're almost out of here. All right, COVID really bad. Look, the administration is defunding everything that protects the little protections we have with COVID is getting defunded. The NIH, all the research groups that are studying long COVID, they're getting pulled.
And
Grants are getting
antiviral,
pulled.
like for if you're infected, pulled.
Yeah, they were working on an antiviral that's much better than Paxlovid, and Paxlovid doesn't work for a lot of people. It doesn't,
Right.
The point is, all this research, everything that has gotten this here, is really it's getting pulled now. And
I mean, they're just taking away the funding. They're just gutting all of it.
Funding, testing, none of
Novavax currently expires, like the last batch that was mass produced expires March 31st. And then nobody even knows if there's a new batch coming. So if you are somebody who is at all immunocompromised, you probably want to try to get to wherever you can get your booster of Novavax for now, because you got 4 days.
You got 5 days, and we're looking at a future where we're going to have to leave the country to get the medicine we need to protect ourselves, because our whole country is pretending COVID is not a thing. And there's no outrage about this in the media. And there's no outrage from these leftists who think they're fucking being woke by dropping the R-bomb all the time. Yeah. All this shit.
I did think it was interesting. It wasn't like required, but that Bernie and AOC asked people to wear masks in Denver and Vegas last week. But it was like, if you feel sick, and it wasn't mandatory, but still, like, just to remind people, because again, like this, I always there were markers to show us if COVID infections cause immune system damage. So some of us who have been reading the immunologists who have been correct from the beginning, like AJ Leonard, I'm going to get his name wrong because I have Fit Happier, but I can't remember. But he from the very beginning, he was like, it's damaging it's dysregulating our T cells. It's basically airborne AIDS. And he was mocked ruthlessly by that, what's her, sorry, Zainab, but her first name is Zainab and I can't remember her last name. So that's just leaving me there. But for the New York Times, they all made fun of him, but there were markers. If COVID infections caused immune system damage, there'd be a massive increase in infections like tuberculosis, cryptosporidiosis, and candidiosis. And since then, we have had spikes in tuberculosis, the second one, which I'm not going to try to pronounce again, and now this deadly fungus infection that is spreading through hospitals. And it, especially if it's drug resistant, and especially if you are at all immunocompromised, which if you've had COVID, you are now considered immune compromised. And 97% of the world has had COVID, whether you tested positive for it or not. So, but now this is where we are. So all of the markers, that's where we are.
That's where we are. We're ending all the testing. We're ending all the research. It's up to private companies to provide the research to keep us alive is what we're at. Meanwhile, our kids are on their 5th, 6th, 7th, 10th infection. And 1 in 10, every infection has a 1 in 10 chance of you developing long COVID. I mean, it's really bad. It's happening. The idea that we don't know that long COVID exists and there people are pretending there's a debate about long COVID happening. 450,000 scientific studies on it. 18,000 on COVID, 18,000 on long COVID.
Yep.
So they know long COVID is real, but we don't have the markers of, there isn't one thing you look for in the blood and say that's long COVID. Right. And that's the thing. But that's why it's a devastating immune problem that we need to solve, because it's got so many forms. It's an immunodeficiency syndrome of sorts.
Yeah.
It's acquired immune deficiency. So ending it is ending the testing. This is just absolutely awful.
Yep.
Anything we can do to stop this, we need the left to get on board, which is never going to fucking happen, apparently, with leftists.
Crazy to me. It really is crazy. And, the thing that two things just happened. So Tom Holland is showing up for a new movie that he's doing with Chris Nolan and he's wearing a mask as he always does in public, indoors, which I really appreciate, because when you can't afford to get sick, you know. But I am kind of shocked, and I don't know that this is because of COVID, but whenever they talk about like mysterious sicknesses that they can't identify, Mookie Betts, who's like one of the great players on the Dodgers, an athlete, lost 15 pounds in a really short time, and they just don't know what for. And he had to miss LA's opening series in Tokyo. And I don't know, there's like something, I'm trying to formulate it in my head, but like the billionaires who I thought were only going to protect themselves, but then like build a shitty submarine and go down and die in it, like something's missing there. And athletes who I thought would be like, my body is my temple, this is my whole thing, and like just repeated infections. I don't know. It's horrible.
It's just peer pressure shit. You know, it's not like, I don't mean peer pressure and like you're processing it and you know you should do this, but you just look around and you're like, it's too much burden on you individually to be the one guy masking. It's all it comes down to. People are pussies, you know.
They really are.
It's just the way it works. There's so much pressure to conform.
Yeah.
But real quick on the Trump side of things with the COVID, they got an anti-vaxxer now in charge of vaccines. So that's good, right? We got an anti-vaxxer running our vaccine programs, overseeing them. And we just approved this guy, you can pronounce his name for me.
Bhattacharya.
Yeah, he's in charge of the NIH. He's a mess. He's not.
No, I'm so sorry, Zainab. That's horrible. I'm really sorry. It's just awful. And you know, the thing about Bhattacharya is he's at Stanford, right? Which is like, that's a liberal institution. And he's a total, not Brookings Institute, you know, the get everybody infected, let it rip policy. I can't remember.
Barrington Declaration.
Yeah, exactly. Like that was his whole thing. And the other guy who's also at Stanford is Vinay Prasad. I mean, it's just disgusting. Okay.
Yeah. So, of all the Republican things that the Democrats should stand up to on some level,
yes,
this would have been the easy one if the left had kept pressuring Democrats to be at least fake left. They would have to be representing this stuff. But like, now it's just like, everybody's just like, just
get over it. It's cold. What are we gonna do? It's a new normal.
We're gonna all die. We're gonna all die. Yeah.
Super uplifting, but we only
Israel.
have a minute, so we're just going to move on right to Israel. I suggest pouring another glass or taking another hit or whatever you do to numb the pain, because it's all just awful. The only good part is apparently Chuck Schumer is not doing his job, because less than half in the U.S. now are sympathetic towards Israelis, and this is in spite of all of corporate media lying to everybody about what's going on. You know, there was this article in The Guardian last week, and currently both sides have refrained from returning to war, though Israel has conducted an intensifying series of airstrikes in Gaza that have killed dozens of Palestinians. Israeli military officials say the victims are legitimate targets who had entered whatever, all their lies, but like, that's not a ceasefire. And when there was a ceasefire, Ansar Allah was not blocking passage of ships to and from Israel. So we know that worked. Hezbollah wasn't bombing unless they had to return bombs that when Israel was like, you know, flattening whole neighborhoods. So Israel has again and again broken the ceasefire. 2 doctors, I know one of them is American and Jewish, not that should matter, but just like Perlmutter, he's a hand surgeon, I think, and we've shown clips of him before, but he and Dr. Feroz Sidwa did an interview on CNN talking about how doctors are being targeted, babies are being targeted, sniped in the head, and then they were disappeared for a while. We have now heard Katie Halper actually had interviewed them just prior to their disappearance, and she reported that they are both alive. However, two journalists, Mohammed Mansour was killed, was this yesterday, 2 days ago. Israel deliberately killed journalist and Palestine Today TV correspondent Mohammed Mansour in an airstrike on his family home in Khan Yunis. And Hassam Shabbat was killed, and his last post was, "If you're reading this, it means I have been killed, most likely targeted by the Israeli occupation forces. When this all began, I was only 21 years old, a college student with dreams like anyone else. For the past 18 months, I've dedicated every moment of my life to my people. I documented the horrors in northern Gaza minute by minute, determined to show the world the truth they tried to bury. I slept on pavements, in schools, in tents, anywhere I could. Each day was a battle for survival. I endured hunger for months, yet I never left my people's side. By God, I fulfilled my duty as a journalist. I risked everything to report the truth, and now I am finally at rest, something I haven't known in the past 18 months. I did all this because I believe in the Palestinian cause. I believe this land is ours, and it has been the highest honor of my life to die defending it and serving its people. I ask you now, do not stop speaking about Gaza. Do not let the world look away. Keep fighting, keep telling our stories until Palestine is free. For the last time, Hossam Shabbat from northern Gaza." And there was this really beautiful video of him returning from a few months ago and being greeted by this little girl that I just wanted to show.
She was so happy.
قالوا عنك استشهدت. شو ليش؟ ما بغيت تتجاوز على الشمال. كنا نعيط عليك والله. الدرجة بتنام بايش؟ لا اله الا الله. والله نزعني. قسما بالله العلي العظيم نزعني.
اشتقتي لنا يعني؟
والله اشتقتي لنا.
جدع. ايش بدك تصيري لما تكبري؟
صحفية. بقول كيف بدي اصير صحفية واسم شمالته يستشهد. كيف بدي اصير صحفية؟
لا ليش نستشهد؟
لا يبعد الشر عنك. كيف بدي اصير صحفية سعيدة؟
لا نسويك صحفية. بدك صحفية تصيري؟
ان شاء الله.
تصيري صحفية. يلا سلام. يلا سلام.
So that is happening, and one of the co-directors of No Other Land just won an Oscar, which, like, I mean, who cares about the Oscar, but like had worldwide notoriety, and even that isn't going to protect him. He was taken from his home. And this is the other co-director saying a group of settlers just lynched Hamdan Bilal, co-director of our film, No Other Land. They beat him and he has injuries in his head and stomach, bleeding. Soldiers invaded the ambulance he called and took him. No sign of him since. Hamdan was assaulted and beaten up, not murdered. My use of lynched was a mistranslation from Hebrew. English isn't my first language. He's injured and being held at a police station in a settlement. They did not let his lawyer speak to him yet, so we don't know more. After being handcuffed all night and beaten in a military base, Hamdan Bilal is now free and is about to go home to his family. And here is, I'm standing with Karam, Hamdan's 7-year-old son, near the blood of Hamdan in his house after settlers lynched him. Hamdan, co-director of our film, No Other Land, is still missing. I mean, if they can do this to people who are well known. They did it to, oh my God, Shireen, my brain isn't functioning, but, people who are well-respected, well-known, doctors who are known, nothing happens. There's no consequences. So
there's no consequences. And what a major story this should be. Like, this is such an, like, if the news is here, and they make their excuses about not covering some of these things because it's not like they didn't cover Bernie's campaign because it wasn't sensational enough, or
right.
You got more press, more views by covering Trump. This is sensational. Oscar winner.
Taken from his home. The very thing that they were covering in their documentary that they won an Oscar for. Thank you, Cora. I mean, it's really so hard to be with people in real life because I don't know how we're supposed to be normal when this is all happening.
Zena called it out. There it is.
Oh, sorry. Shireen Abu Akla. Thank you. Thank you. Shireen Abu Akla. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah. This is it. Like, it's the Atlantic, it's the New York Times. They're all permeated by the IDF. It's just awful. Okay. So I think I will say, Mark Ruffalo put out a tweet. I don't know. Mark Ruffalo put out a tweet, and Rachel Ziegler, I don't know, who's in the Snow White movie with Gal Gadot, is in trouble because she said free Palestine. I mean, just the existence of Palestinians is too much for Zionists to handle.
Yeah, and where are all the people in Hollywood who at least they cheered for him at the Oscars, but where are they? Are they speaking up now? What do we have? Three people I can point to that have said something about him.
Yeah, it's not great. It's really despicable, because if art isn't subversive, and also, by the way, like, speaking out, Jesus, I'm getting so many calls from Democratic fundraisers. If it's not about speaking out against power or being subversive, like, what are you doing? Like, what is it? What are you doing? It's not daring. You're doing nothing. You're contributing Zippo. You're actually, if all you're doing is making people tune out entirely, you're doing worse than nothing. So,
and I mean, you're Hollywood. I'm not Hollywood at all. Like, you're an actress, right? But
so Hollywood.
Seeing the story of the big Hollywood guy flying out to her house to try to talk to her about taking down her comments about Palestine.
Oh yeah, Mark Platt.
Yeah, Mark Platt, and his kid responded on Twitter and told this whole story about, well, employees shouldn't be, wrecking the movie and, bringing your political stuff into this for your silly projects kind of thing. And honestly, that movie, like, who's in that movie with her? Gal Gadot, one of the worst fucking actresses I've ever experienced. I mean, make your own call, and that's all judgmental. She's very attractive, but that's all she has going for her. And she's a terrible actress. And that movie sucked and tanked. I didn't see it, but, like, I'm not going to watch it knowing she's the star, for one, and that she supports Israel. And she's such a fucking shitty actress on top of it. But so they're trying to pin the movie being unsuccessful on her.
On the one who said free Palestine.
Who said, because she had one comment about free Palestine, wouldn't take it down. Like, no, it's your terrible actress who just got a fucking gold star in Hollywood.
That was, like, destroyed the next day, I think.
That was fake news. But
I thought so too, but I don't know. I'm hoping.
It was fake.
I'm like trying to manifest it. Somebody.
That was actually Trump's star that they showed.
Really? Is that really true? Did I just spread fake news? God damn it. Fake news. Now we're going to be taking it away. All right. It's really late here. And for those joining on the East Coast, do you have any last thoughts before we wrap?
More Luigi's, more Houthis. I don't know. Who else can we get behind that's going to get us kicked off the air here?
Manja. Oh, that was a weird
Manja.
Manja. All right. We're going out with an actual one good thing. This is just like the slight precursor to it, which is Israel just lost its game to Norway 4-2. Palestine won.
Yeah, let's go Palestine.
Yep. Which means that they could still qualify for the 2026 World Cup, which will be played in the US. They were down, and then it was tied, and then at the last minute, a header scored the winning goal, and that's beautiful. So we're looking for those moments of joy wherever we
Please
can
make
find
it
it.
happen. Make
Please
it happen.
I
Get
know.
Palestine here in the U.S. If they're in the U.S., I'm going to go to the game. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
It would be pretty fucking amazing. You guys are awesome. I've missed this so much, so I'm so glad to be back. And as always, keep punching up. Love you guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, they scored! Unbelievable! They have come from behind to win the game in stoppage time and stoppage time. And buried beneath that pile of bodies could well be Amid Mahani.
هيرو 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 الله حيهم بطل بطل فري فلسطين فري فلسطين الله حيهم الله حيهم وحش ادم وحش ادم بيستاهل الوحش ألف مبروك فدائي